Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know what part of the world you're at. Change is inevitable. Change is happening all around us. If you are not ready for change, then prepare yourself for change because you have to go through changes in life. Hi, this is Diane Klein, and I'm here with the Fearless Online Entrepreneurs, and we're with a group of women here who are pushing through to our success. We have our success, and we're here to help you and to give you some tips of how to get along, how to get to the next level in your life or your business. And we get together and we mastermind together. And what we're talking about these days is the book by Jack Canfield, The Principles to Success. And today we're going to talk about change. And this is very interesting. Just before we went live here, we were talking about this. Change is just, we need to be prepared for change because change happens all around us. Anyways, let me first introduce myself. I am Diane Klein. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I am here with Rachel Kelly, and I think she's on the move. I don't know if you can come out, Rachel, and say something, or if I should just introduce you. Can you come out?
Yeah, I can come out for a minute, Diane. Hey, everyone, welcome to the call. Thank you, Diane, for taking and hosting. You are doing an awesome job. Just wanted to say that. And just kind of a little bit about me. My name is Rachel Kelly. I'm here in Toledo, Ohio, married with three beautiful children. My youngest son diagnosed with Down syndrome. And, my mission in life is to empower and encourage families to go forth in spite of fear, because fear will come, but empower you to go forward and reach your dreams. Back to you, Di.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes, and we're going to talk about change today. And actually, we started off before we even went live talking about this and how life comes for us. When you look around you on our earth, where we live, in the world, there's change happening all the time. There's change of season, there's change of styles, there's change of dress codes, there's change of how people raise their kids, there's changes of disciplining all around us. Change is happening. So we have to get prepared with it or we get stuck in the rut. Which one will it be? Will you get prepared and get strong for the change that comes? Or will you be the person that's just going to sit back and let change pass you and then you're going to miss out in life? You don't want to be that kind of person. And today, I believe it's just a short little scripture. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually read the book, the chapter, and then we're going to talk about it. And I'll go into my details about changes in my life and share some personal stuff here. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to go and leave your questions there. I will check the Q&A and I will check and see if you have any questions. Come out and we're here to help you. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, if you're having a hard time with change, maybe we have some tips for you that can help you grow, that can help you get to where you need to go or where you need to change. So we're with Principle 31, Embrace Change. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. John F. Kennedy. Change is inevitable. At this very moment, for instance, your body and cells are changing. The earth is changing, the economy, technology, how we do business, even how we communicate is changing. And though you can resist that change and potentially be swept away by it, you can also choose to cooperate with it, adapt to it, and benefit from it. Grow or die. In 1910, Flores Telegraph Delivery, known today as FTD, was founded by 15 American florists who began using the telegraph to exchange orders and deliver flowers to customers. Loved ones thousands of miles away, gone were the days when a daughter or sister would go to the local florist and order a small bouquet. Family members were relocated to cities and towns far from home, and FTD flourished by identifying this trend and combining it with the telegraph, which represented a change in the way we communicate. Around the same time, the American railroad industry began to see the automobile and the airport as new technology designed to transport people and goods from place to place. But unlike other industries, we readily embraced these new machines. The railroad industry resisted, believing instead that they were in the railroad business, not the business of transporting goods and people. They didn't realize what they were up against. They didn't grow. Though businesses focused focusing on the railroads might have become automobile and aircraft businesses, they didn't. As a result, they almost died out. Where do you need to grow? When change happens, you can either cooperate with it and learn how to benefit from it, or you can resist it and eventually get run over by it. It's your choice. When you embrace change wholeheartedly as an inevitable part of life, looking for ways to use new changes to make your life richer, easier, and more fulfilling, your life will work much better. You will experience change as an opportunity for growth and new experience. A few years ago, I was hired to consult with the Naval SEAL System Command in Washington, D.C. They had just announced they were moving the entire command to San Diego, California, which meant that a lot of civil service jobs were going to be lost in the transition. My job was to conduct a seminar for all the non-military personnel who would not be moving to California. And though the Navy SEAL System commanded had offered everyone jobs and transfers to San Diego, including reimbursements of all moving expenses or assistance in locating a new job in Washington, D.C. area, many of the employees had become almost frozen with fear and resentment. Though nearly all of them looked at this change as a major disaster in their lives, I encouraged them to look at it as an opportunity. As something new, I taught them about E plus R equals O, and how, although moving to San Diego, E was inevitable, their outcome, whether or not they flourished afterwards, O, was entirely dependent on their response, R, to the situation. Perhaps you'll find a more empowering job in DC, I said, or even get a job with better pay. Or maybe you would like to move to California where it's warm most of the year and new friends and adventures are awaiting you. Slowly they began to move from panic and fear to realizing that things could indeed work out, maybe even for the better, if only they embraced this change as an opportunity to create something new and better. I'm actually going to stop here, and there's another page, but we'll go into that in a minute. But it is so true that change will come. And if we do not adapt to change, then we are going to be left behind. Just like that railroad that almost died out because it did not adapt to the change. It did not grow with what was happening in the world. And it's the same today. If we don't keep up with the technology, if we don't keep up with computer, with Facebook, with Instagram, with all these things, and incorporate them in our lives and in our, well, we don't need them in our lives so much, but as far as in our business for advertising and stuff like that, then we're going to miss out on opportunities. If we miss out on, let's say in the business that we're in, we need to pick up people, if we're recruiting in the recruiting part of it, then we're going to miss out. If we don't list the items in our business on eBay or Amazon that people are looking for, then we're going to miss out on the sales. So there's so many parts in the business side of it where we will be left behind if we do not adapt to this change. And on top of all that, this is the time when we're going to explode. If you don't take the time to work on yourself, on your mindset, and understand where you're going, or follow the blueprint or your business plan or whatever, and are getting ready to explode, then you're not going to explode. If you don't adapt to that change, it will not happen. And something I wanted to share here with you, it's from The Greatest Secret in the World. And it's just a little paragraph here. In truth, the only difference between those who failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are key to all success. Bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. Thus, the first law I will obey, which preceded all others, is I will form good habits and become their slave. Now listen, we have to change. If we want to change some habits in our life and form some good habits in our life, we have to change because the old habits have to go. And that's just how it is. And we have to understand and know that. Rachel, are you still around to comment?
Yes, Diane, I can jump in here for a minute. Yeah, I was just thinking about what you're reading and what you're saying about change, and change is inevitable. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. It's a part of life. So it's really important that we come to the point where we just adapt to it, know that it's going to happen, know that there's nothing we can do about it, you know. And then as change takes place in our life, that we I shouldn't say that we adjust to it, you know. And when I think about that, I think about, you know, maybe a workplace, maybe, you know, I'll use a workplace because it's a good place to start. But maybe you get a new boss, right? And if you don't adapt to the new boss, the new environment, the new system, then all of a sudden, you know, because you can adapt, now you're having conflict at your workplace where you did not before. Um, Now you may be looking at also being fired because of the fact that you would not adapt. Then you could take that over to your relationships, in your marriage. You know, statistics show that, you know, a marriage, people change every 7 years. So if every 7 years we're going through change, and you don't recognize the change that your mate is going through, or your, you know, someone, your child, whoever, if you don't recognize that change, that what's going to happen is you're going to miss out in that relationship that was once possibly a good thing is not so good anymore because you did not adapt to the change. And then because we're entrepreneurs, you know, we look at that as well. Things change in our business models. You know, maybe we, you know, for example, you know, some people aren't selling on eBay, Amazon, things like, you know, their rules change. So you got to learn how to adapt to the rules so that you can be able to keep up with everything that's going on. So those are just some of my ideas and thoughts on change. And just, you know, one of the things that you and I were talking about earlier, and this is kind of like was confirmation to me. So I don't know really what's going on in my life, and I feel like this may be for someone else as well. And that is that get ready for a change that's going to propel your life in a greater direction. And in my daily devotion this morning, I was reading about, you know, the Israelites who went through many trials. They were slaves, and they were they were bound, and then Moses came to set them free, and then they were free. So change took place, but a lot of them didn't know how to adjust to the change, where they were murmuring and complaining and things of that nature. But, you know, God took them out of a slavery position and put them into freedom. You know, and a lot of them had a very difficult time adjusting to that change. Back to you, Di.
Thank you, Rachel. That was awesome. Yes, and I so agree. It's so important to know that we have to follow the change. We have to know that the people around us are going to change, and we have to grow with them. And change makes you grow. We don't have to be fearful of change. I think change makes you grow. Something that I will share with from personal experience and from what we've gone through. A lot of you know my story. My husband, a recovered alcoholic. We've gone through changes the last 6 years, and that's inevitable. We knew the changes were going to take place, and we have just grown from there. If we would have sat back and said, no, I'm not going to change, I'm still going to keep these habits, well, what would have happened? We would still be stuck in the same lifestyle we were at the time. But we made the decision to change, we made the decision to embrace change, and we decided, okay, this is going to be better. We're looking forward to a much better life. And it's like Rachel said, we prepare for change. And if you prepare for change, and if you get ready for that change to take place, things are going to start happening. Because it's when you start preparing. And I will also share, I remember this story, I don't know who shared it, I think it was on Bob Proctor. And this guy was saying, you know, back in the old days, the people were complaining and saying, we need water, we need water, we need water. And Moses said, okay, well, go pray for it and expect it will come. And they went and they prayed, and nothing happened. And they came back and said, we're not getting any water. Where's our water? And Moses said, did you dig the ditches? And the people said, what do you mean dig the ditches? And Moses said, well, if you're prepared for the water, well, then where's the ditches where the water can go? And that has always been such an enlightening story for me, because I thought, like, wow, so we got to prepare for the rains. We've got to prepare for storing the water. We got to prepare for the wealth. We got to prepare for the health. We got to prepare for what's coming our way. We can't just sit there and say, okay, it's coming, but we got to prepare for it. Hi, Eugenia. How are you today? We can't hear you. You must be muted.
Good morning, ladies. I'm doing very well. I'm really sorry to be late.
No worries. Did you want to comment anything about change, or should we just go on to the embrace part here?
Sure, I would like to comment too. I read the whole chapter beforehand. So when you're prepared for a change, one thing that is, I think it's important is to prepare yourself to receive what you're asking for. As you said, when you were, these people were praying, they just thought that things are going to come just by itself. No, you have to prepare yourself and be ready to receive for what you have asked, and do all the due diligences that you need to receive the things that you have asked when you pray. And then you will start seeing the things coming slowly at their times, and things don't work usually on our time or when we want the things. It's just a process. Everything is a process. Every single day we change. Every single day, if you open every single day to that change and every single day to receive something better, you will start gradually changing, seeing those changes in your life. But it's not overnight. Back to you, Diane.
Thank you, Gina. You're so right. And it also falls back on the same phrase as ask and you shall receive. Well, if we ask and we don't expect, guess what? We most of the time don't receive. If we ask for something that we're praying about and we don't believe, we will not receive it. You have to believe it in order to receive it. You have to expect it. You have to prepare for it. You have to prepare yourself for it. I'm just going to move on here and read about the embracing part. How to embrace change. Realize that there are two kinds of change, cyclical change and structural change, neither of which you can control. Cyclical, cyclical, I think I'm saying that right, change, such as the change we see in the stock market, happens several times a year. Prices go up and they go down. There are bull markers and corrections. We see seasonal change in the weather, holiday spending by the American public, more travel in the summer, and so on. These are changes that happen in cycles, and frankly, most of them we just expect as a normal part of life. But there are also structural changes, such as when the computer was invented and public completely changed how we live, work, get our news, and make purchases. Structural changes are the kinds of changes where there is no going back to doing things the way they were before. And there are the kinds of changes that can sweep you away if you resist them. Like the Naval Sea Systems Command employees, FTD florists, or the railroad industry, will you embrace these structural changes and work to improve your life, or will you resist them? Remember, back to a time when you experienced a change but resisted. Perhaps it was a move, a job transfer, a change in supplies, a change in technology in your company, a change in management, or even your teenager going off to college. A change you were going to have to deal with and you thought it was the worst thing in the world. What happened once you surrendered to the change? Did your life actually eventually improve? Can you look back now and say, wow, I'm glad that happened. Look at the good it eventually brought me. If you can always remember that you've been through changes in the past and that they've largely worked out for the best, you can begin to approach each new change with the excitement and anticipation you should. To help embrace any change, ask yourself the following questions. What's changing in my life that I'm currently resisting? Why am I resisting the change? What am I afraid of with respect to this change? What am I afraid might happen to me? What's the payoff for my keeping things the way they are? What's the cost I'm paying for keeping things the way they are? What benefits might there be in this change? What would I have to do to cooperate with this change? What's the next step I could take to cooperate with this change? When will I take it? Those are all awesome questions, and we really have to look back. I love the way he said, look back at changes that you have gone through in your life and how you have grown from and how you transitioned in. There's something about If you resist change, it's so much harder to transition into them. But if you go with the flow and you accept the changes around you and you wait for them and prepare for them, it's so nice and easy, and things happen for you. It's just like Rachel and myself were talking here before, hang out, we can feel the change that's happening here for us, and we're preparing for what's to come. That's why the changes are going to take place. It's because we're preparing for them in our business. We're doing the things we do. We're striving for the change. The same thing in our lives. For myself and my husband, we were striving for the change. We were expecting the changes that were going to happen, and we had an amazing life. Was it easy? Not all the time. I mean, there's bumps in the road you just have to go over. There's hills that you have to climb up and conquer, right? It's about, that's how life is. But if you're going to resist it, it's going to be a hard life. If you're going to embrace it and go with it and say, this is going to be the best, this is going to be so awesome, guess what? You're going to have an amazing life. You're going to have an amazing change, and you will definitely benefit from it because you're embracing the change. Did anybody else want to comment on the embracing part?
I love the way when you said go with the flow. I remember when I was going through my divorce that it was so painful, and I just it was hard for me to accept at the beginning what was happening. But then one day my sister very wisely said, just don't resist anymore. It is what it is, and go with the flow. Accept and have enough faith in your heart to get stronger every single day, and just look at yourself. Look at the things that surround you. Look at all the richness you have around you, and everything is going to start coming along. And it was true. At the beginning, I was just focused on the dark side of it. I was so afraid, so scared of not being able to be a single parent. I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be a good mom, a good dad for my kids, and just one day, living one day at a time, and just allowing and flowing with whatever was coming on my path. And within 2 years, I had so many changes in my life. I changed from city. We had this huge move coming to live to the U.S., changing culture, changing schools, changing lives, changing everything. And even though it was scary at the time, just holding on to what my sister said, go with the flow, open yourself to whatever comes on your way. It doesn't matter if it's hard, you will have so much fun, you will have laughter, you will have tears, but it's worth it. Just keep focused on the main thing that you want for your kids. And it's true, I just don't regret any single thing of it. And with all the changes and all the things, it's funny because everybody has the same challenges, and just by looking at little simple things that you may have, or if you set little goals, as we were talking for our businesses, you will start seeing change in your business. You will start seeing change in your lives, and everything goes for the best. Back with you, Diane.
Absolutely, Eugenia. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. And a lot of times it's just about our attitude. It all comes back to the way we live. It's about attitude. It's that big, important word. If we're prepared, then we have the right attitude for change. So if things happen that we're not expecting, if we have the right attitude, it will go smoothly. It will benefit you. But if you live your life with the wrong attitude, with a bad attitude, that's what you're attracting. You're attracting complications. You're attracting all this stuff that's kind of ugly for you. You don't have to live that way. You don't. Just have the right attitude. Work on yourself every single day. Look in the mirror if you need to every day and say, you know what, I'm beautiful. Things are going to be great. I'm happy. Happiness is the inside job. That I did a pro tip for the day the other day in one of our groups. It was my turn to do a pro tip, and I said, you know, happiness is an inside job. Nobody's responsible for making you happy. You are the only one that's responsible for making you happy. You need to have the right attitude about life, and then you're going to be happy. So that's what it all boils down to. And that's when if you have the right attitude, then you know that if change comes, that you embrace change. You know that if something comes up, something changes in your life, your baby boy goes to school full time, your daughter moves out for college, all that kind of stuff, you're prepared for it. You know it's happening, you know change is going to happen, and you are prepared for it. And that's when everything goes with the flow, like Eugenia said. Everything happens. And you know, I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. So if one door gets shut in our lives, the other door is open right there beside it. All we have to do is walk through it. I don't know if Rachel's still with us. Rachel, did you want to give one last comment here?
I would like to comment something else.
Okay.
That along the change, and you know, everybody is sometimes prone to not to accept changes in the life, but just remember in those moments that you are not alone in this on earth. God is always with you. There's always a divine light, and you just need to close your eyes and look inside yourself. You will find the strength. You will find the answers that you're looking for. Everything is inside you. Trust in yourself. Trust in what you believe, and you will make it happen. And every change that comes into our lives is always for the better, as Diane says. God has meant us to have a happy life. So we have to work at that. Work on yourself. Work with the things that you think you can improve in yourself. And always congratulate yourself and praise yourself for every single little thing that you accomplish every single life. Just look around you, look at your kids if you have kids, look at your house, look at whatever you have around you, and you will start seeing that you move big steps. You took big steps in your life, and you have so many things to be grateful for. Back with you, Diane.
Absolutely, Eugenia. Thank you for that. And it is about gratitude. If you live a life of gratitude, your life is going to be incredible. Things are just going to come your way that you've never even dreamed of. It will come your way in every way, in leaps and bounds, just because your heart is grateful and you're having the attitude of gratitude where it should be. And look, like Eugenia said, look around you. We have an amazing life. I mean, there's so many people that are in poverty and in poor countries, and like we live like kings and queens. I always say to my kids, you know, we live like kings and queens and princes and princesses. Look at what we have. Never take for granted what we have. So with that being said, I did check the questions. I didn't see anybody leave a question for us, and it is time now to end here. We do get together from Monday through Thursday during the week, every single day at 12 Eastern. So we're so glad you came out with us today. We thank you for coming. We appreciate you. And join us again next week. We'll be back Monday at the same time, at the same place. So come join us as we mastermind together. And if you have any questions, if you're watching the replay of this, then you know what, still leave us questions if you have anything. And if you need help with change, if you need something that you need from us, then don't be scared to ask us. Just ask us. We're here for you, and chances are whatever question you come up with will also help us with where we're at in our lives. But I challenge you today to just embrace change, go with the flow, have the attitude of gratitude, and just work on yourself every single day. And like Eugenia said, celebrate where you are. Celebrate your successes, celebrate what you have, and you will feel the blessings come your way. We appreciate you, we love you, and we will see you back here next Monday. Bye for now.